Now, the Republicans sitting at a $34 billion budget, $34 billion with a B. I mean, is that chump change? I mean, I know we've been billioned and trillioned out by Washington, but I mean, that is astonishing. And remember, I think they still should have started at 32. I think we gave away $2 billion already. And of course, we have a governor who is stuck on his just obsession with driving business, driving entrepreneurs, driving investment out of the state into the other states, or into South Dakota, into Wisconsin, into Iowa. That's what's happening. That's what's going to happen. We just had Delta. What did Delta just do? Lay off or close something, or they laid off about? I don't remember. I don't remember the details. We've had company after company. You know, there was a time, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, in this state, it wasn't that long ago, when 3M, Honeywell, Target were the engines of the economy here in Minnesota. And those days are long. I mean, long gone. And maybe this is part of the byproduct when you have a governor who's never had an honest job in his life. Now, the governor and Kurt Zellars, the Speaker of the House, had a meeting last weekend, or maybe it was last week, but they had I saw this on Act Issue. This is where I get the footage from, of the little clips I'm going to show you here, of Zellars coming out of this meeting and Dayton coming out of this meeting. Now, the meeting was on the budget. There was minimal movement, if anything. Dayton, of course, is just determined to, like I said, create another level of taxation that's just going to throw more and more people out of here, out of the state. The entrepreneurs will leave, the welfare element will continue to come in, and the dependence on government will just do nothing but grow. Here are Kurt Zellars' comments about meeting with the governor. Now listen to let's listen to the speaker first. I didn't give a great, I don't know if even I could explain it better in about 30 seconds here than Speaker of the House Kurt Zellars. Watch this, roll tape.
A special session is not necessary, and a tax increase isn't necessary. This is the biggest budget in the state of Minnesota's history. It should be enough to fund our priorities, because again, if everything is a priority, then nothing is a priority in the state of Minnesota.
Okay, now there you have it. $34 billion, the largest budget in the history of Minnesota. And what he said there about priorities is really fundamentally true. I mean, if everything's a priority, if you have to fund everything in the moon and we're all going to die and everybody doesn't get an automatic increase every year, then you have no priorities. You don't have anything. If you can't, I mean, you look at the state budget and health and human services, education, infrastructure spending, and local government aid is pretty much the entire budget. So if you're going to make cuts, somebody has to take the hit or the freeze or the whatever. But the Democrats keep insisting on spending more everywhere. Well, how do you do that? Cut the budget. It's impossible. It's unworkable. It's just mind-boggling. Zellars hit the nail on the head. I wish I'd hear stuff like this more from the Republicans. I mean, more talking about putting it in these words. And, you know, and I hate to be political here, but you have to brand this stuff. You've got to articulate it in a way in 30 seconds and 60 seconds, which is all people's attention spans are, including mine, how to do this. Oh, gee. Yeah, loud plane flying ahead. All right, now, you want contrast that with this whiny little twerp of a so-called governor we have. And look at, he's almost out of breath. He's got sweat all over him. What? Here's Governor Dayton trying to explain his impressions of the budget meeting with Mr. Zellars and company. Watch this.
Well, we had yet another meeting, and you know, once again I'm left with this disconnect between what happens in the meeting, which was respectful and reasonably cordial, and then, you know, getting the report of Republican leaders who come out and you know, play the blame game. Who can we set up to blame for this impasse?
Oh, please, Mr. Dayton, did you honestly pull the blame game card? Really, well, who's running commercials to the Alliance for a Bitter Minnesota? Your little front group with your slush fund. And what, you're blaming Republicans for doing the blame game? The Republicans passed a budget. The Republicans sent you a budget. You are the one who vetoed it. It is in your hands, Governor. And of course, comes out whining, I'm going to get blamed. Well, that's part of being governor. If it's too tough for you, Mr. Dayton, then you go back to whatever the hiding in your old Senate office. But I mean, did you see the guy right there sweating and just, well, you know, we had a meeting, it was cordial, and then somebody came out and made fun of me. Oh, poor Governor Dayton. Oh. Of course, you had no problem when the Democratic legislatures would come out and rip Pawlenty. They came out and ripped Ventura. I don't remember Mark Dayton complaining about that then. Where were you, Mr. Dayton? Oh, that's right, hiding under your desk in Washington, hiding in your Senate office. That's where you were, right?